Many senior women drink water all day, believing it is helping their skin. Yet collagen continues to weaken and wrinkles deepen year after year, even when nothing else in their routine has changed. What most women are never told is that after a certain age, water alone no longer supports skin repair unless it carries a specific biological signal with it. And without that missing add-in, hydration stops working the way your skin truly needs. After more than 15 years working with women in midlife and beyond, I've watched this same confusion appear again and again, which is why this conversation matters. I'm Dr. Eliza Hart, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 15 years of experience in women's health and hormonal wellness. And one of the most common misunderstandings I see is the belief that water alone is enough to support aging skin. What many senior women are never told is that after menopause, hydration only works when water carries a specific biological add-in that helps circulation, protects collagen, and signals the skin to repair itself. Without that missing element, even drinking plenty of water may no longer support collagen strength or skin smoothness the way it once did. In this video, I'll explain what that add-in does inside the body, why it becomes essential after 60, and how it helps water work with your skin instead of against it. Before we continue, please subscribe and comment the name of your country below so I can see how far this message is reaching around the world. Stay until the end because I have a small but important surprise about this topic that many women overlook. Now let's begin with why plain water stops working the same way after 60. 1. Why collagen needs a biological environment, not just water. Before we talk about any specific solution, there is one misunderstanding that needs to be cleared away because it quietly shapes almost every frustration women experience with their skin after 60. Aging skin does not decline because you stop doing the right things. It changes because the biological environment that supports collagen gradually shifts, often without a single obvious symptom to signal what is happening beneath the surface. This is why so many disciplined, health-conscious women feel confused when hydration suddenly stops delivering the visible results it once did, despite consistency and good intentions. Collagen is not a passive substance that simply absorbs water and improves on its own. It is a living structural protein that depends on adequate circulation, oxygen delivery, balanced enzymatic activity, and precise cellular communication to remain stable over time. After menopause, these systems often slow in subtle but meaningful ways. Blood flow to the skin becomes less efficient, inflammatory signaling increases, and fibroblast activity, which is responsible for maintaining collagen structure, gradually declines. Clinical research has shown that reduced microcirculation and increased low-grade inflammation after menopause significantly impair collagen stability, even in women who remain well-hydrated and nutritionally mindful. This helps explain a pattern that is consistently observed in clinical practice across different populations. Many women over 60 drink water regularly, maintain otherwise healthy routines, and still notice thinning skin, reduced firmness, and wrinkles that appear to deepen faster than expected. The issue is not dehydration in the traditional sense, but impaired delivery. Nutrients, oxygen, and repair signals simply do not reach skin tissue with the same reliability they once did. When circulation weakens and inflammatory stress rises, collagen fibers become more vulnerable to daily breakdown, while repair mechanisms struggle to keep pace. There is also a metabolic shift that often goes unrecognized. As we age, the skin becomes more sensitive to oxidative stress and chronic low-level inflammation, both of which accelerate collagen degradation at a cellular level. Research in women after menopause consistently shows that this internal stress environment alters how skin cells respond to hydration signals. In this context, water alone becomes neutral rather than supportive. It maintains fluid balance, but it does not provide direction or instruction for repair. This is why simply increasing water intake rarely restores smoothness or firmness on its own. Without the right internal signals, hydration lacks purpose. Collagen production slows, repair efficiency declines, and skin structure gradually weakens. Understanding this shift reframes the entire conversation. The goal is no longer to drink more, but to restore the biological conditions that allow water to support collagen again. Once that internal environment is corrected, hydration regains its role and the skin becomes responsive rather than resistant to change. 2. Add in number 1, beetroot, circulation and oxygen delivery support. One of the least discussed changes after 60 is not what the skin loses, but what it stops receiving. Long before wrinkles deepen or firmness fades, circulation to the skin begins to slow in ways that are easy to overlook, especially in women who remain active, hydrated, and otherwise healthy. This subtle reduction in blood flow quietly limits how much oxygen and how many nutrients can actually reach skin tissue, setting the stage for collagen weakness long before it becomes visible. Beetroot plays a unique role in this process because of its relationship with nitric oxide, a molecule the body uses to regulate blood vessel function. When nitric oxide levels are adequate, blood vessels relax and widen, allowing oxygen and nutrients to move efficiently into peripheral tissues such as the skin. After menopause, nitric oxide production naturally declines, which means circulation becomes less responsive, and delivery slows even when the bloodstream itself is well hydrated. Beetroot provides compounds that support nitric oxide availability, helping restore this signaling pathway rather than forcing the system to work harder. Clinical research has shown that reduced nitric oxide activity is closely linked to impaired microcirculation in aging tissues, including the skin. This matters because collagen-producing cells depend on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to maintain structure and repair daily damage. When circulation weakens, collagen fibers become fragile, repair slows, and the skin gradually loses resilience. Supporting blood flow does not create collagen directly, but it creates the conditions collagen needs to survive and function. In clinical practice, this explains why some women notice improvements in skin tone and vitality before they see changes in wrinkles or firmness when circulation improves. The skin often looks more awake, more evenly colored, and less dull because oxygen delivery has increased. Over time, this improved environment allows collagen fibers to stabilize rather than continually degrade under stress. Without this foundation, other supportive nutrients may struggle to reach the skin in meaningful amounts. It is also important to understand that beetroot works best as a gentle signal, not an aggressive intervention. Small, consistent amounts support vascular responsiveness without overstimulating the system. The goal is not to flood the body, but to remind it how to deliver efficiently again. When circulation improves gradually, the skin becomes more receptive to repair instead of remaining resistant. This is why circulation support often comes first when addressing aging skin from the inside out. Before collagen can be protected or rebuilt, the pathways that feed it must be open and responsive. Once those pathways begin to function more reliably, the skin is finally prepared to benefit from the next layer of support, which focuses not on delivery, but on preservation. 3. Add in number 2, pomegranate, collagen protection, and anti-inflammation. Even when circulation begins to improve, many women are surprised to find that their skin still struggles to hold firmness, as if collagen is slipping away faster than it can be restored. This is where a second often overlooked process comes into focus. After 60, collagen loss is driven not only by reduced production, but by accelerated breakdown, a quiet process that unfolds daily under the influence of inflammation and oxidative stress, gradually weakening the skin's underlying support network. Pomegranate becomes relevant here because of its unusually high concentration of polyphenols compounds that interact directly with the mechanisms responsible for collagen degradation. These polyphenols act as biological stabilizers, helping shield collagen fibers from enzymatic damage and chronic inflammatory signaling that increase after menopause. As estrogen levels decline, low-grade inflammation becomes more common even in women who otherwise feel well and maintain healthy routines. This inflammatory environment weakens collagen bonds, making skin structure less resilient and more prone to sagging and deepening lines over time. Medical research has consistently shown that chronic low-level inflammation accelerates collagen degradation and disrupts the balance between breakdown and repair. In women after menopause, this imbalance becomes more pronounced, particularly in skin tissue that is already under oxidative stress from environmental exposure and cumulative sun damage. Pomegranate's protective role does not lie in creating new collagen directly, but in slowing the biological forces that dismantle existing fibers. This distinction is critical because preservation often determines whether visible aging accelerates or stabilizes after 60. From a clinical perspective, this explains a pattern many practitioners recognize in daily practice. Women who support collagen protection often notice that their skin stops changing so rapidly even before dramatic improvements appear. Wrinkles may not disappear, but they stop deepening at the same pace. Skin texture feels more resilient, elasticity stabilizes, and the sense that the face is gradually sliding downward begins to soften. These changes reflect reduced collagen breakdown rather than sudden regeneration, which is a far more realistic and sustainable outcome in later decades. There is also a systemic benefit worth noting. Pomegranate's polyphenols help calm inflammatory signaling throughout the body, not just in the skin. When internal inflammation decreases, the skin operates in a less hostile environment, allowing repair processes to function more efficiently and consistently. This is especially important because inflammation does not announce itself loudly. It works quietly, eroding structure over time. This is why collagen protection must follow circulation support. Once nutrients can reach the skin, preserving collagen becomes the next priority. Without protection, improved delivery alone cannot prevent ongoing degradation. When breakdown slows, the skin finally has the breathing room it needs to respond to deeper forms of support, which move beyond defense and begin addressing how collagen is sustained at a structural level. 4. Add in number 3. Citrulline. Circulation, amplification, and nutrient delivery. At this stage, many women begin to notice an important shift. Circulation has improved, collagen breakdown has slowed, yet the skin still feels as though it is operating below its full potential. This is often because delivery, while better, is not yet efficient enough to support continuous repair. After 60, the challenge is no longer simply opening pathways, but sustaining them so nutrients, oxygen, and signals can reach the skin consistently, rather than intermittently. Citrulline plays a critical role here because it functions as an amplifier rather than a direct actor. Inside the body, citrulline is converted into arginine, which then supports ongoing nitric oxide production. Unlike short-lived signals that rise and fall quickly, this pathway helps maintain vascular responsiveness over time. For aging skin, that consistency matters. When blood vessels remain responsive, nutrient delivery becomes steadier, allowing repair processes to operate without constant interruption. Medical research has shown that nitric oxide availability is closely tied not only to circulation, but to how effectively peripheral tissues respond to repair signals. In women after menopause, reduced nitric oxide activity contributes to uneven nutrient delivery, leaving some skin regions well supplied, while others remain undernourished. Citrulline helps smooth out this imbalance, supporting more uniform delivery across skin tissue. This creates a biological environment where collagen-supporting cells can function with greater reliability. In clinical practice, this explains why some women report that their skin feels more resilient and responsive before visible changes fully emerge. Healing appears less sluggish, texture becomes more even, and the skin seems better able to recover from daily stressors. These are subtle, but meaningful signs that delivery systems are no longer struggling to keep up with demand. Citrulline does not force change. It allows the body's own mechanisms to work without resistance. There is also an important timing element to consider. After 60, repair does not happen in bursts but in gradual cycles. Citrulline supports this rhythm by keeping circulation adaptable rather than reactive. This steady support reduces the stop-and-start pattern that often undermines skin repair, particularly in women who already hydrate well but still see uneven results. Before we move on, I'd like to pause briefly. If this explanation resonates with you and you've noticed that your skin feels slower to respond than it used to, comment 1 below. If this still feels unfamiliar or you're unsure whether circulation plays a role in your skin, changes, comment 0. Your responses help me understand where you are in this process. This amplification stage matters because it determines whether earlier support can actually be used. Once delivery becomes consistent, the skin is no longer merely protected, it is prepared to respond. And that readiness sets the foundation for the next layer of support, which focuses on defending the skin against the daily damage that continues even when circulation improves. 5. Add in number 4, pine bark extract, antioxidant defense and collagen stimulation. As circulation becomes more consistent and nutrient delivery steadier, another limitation often emerges that is less visible but equally influential. Even when the skin is adequately supplied, it remains exposed to continuous, microscopic damage driven by oxidative stress. After 60, this background stress increases quietly, placing collagen fibers under constant pressure that gradually weakens structure elasticity and overall skin integrity. Pine bark extract enters the conversation at this point because of its rich concentration of bioactive compounds known for their antioxidant capacity, particularly those associated with pycnogenol. These compounds work at a cellular level to neutralize free radicals before they can disrupt collagen fibers and cellular membranes. As estrogen declines, the skin's natural antioxidant defenses also diminish, leaving collagen more vulnerable to daily environmental and metabolic stressors. Supporting antioxidant balance becomes essential, not to reverse aging, but to slow the pace at which structural damage accumulates. Medical research has shown that oxidative stress plays a direct role in collagen fragmentation and reduced skin elasticity, especially in postmenopausal women. When free radicals overwhelm protective systems, collagen fibers lose their orderly structure, becoming weaker and less responsive to repair signals. Pine bark extract does not function as a surface solution, nor does it act as a stimulant. Instead, it helps restore equilibrium by reducing the internal conditions that accelerate collagen degradation while gently supporting the pathways involved in collagen maintenance. From a clinical standpoint, this often explains why women who address oxidative stress notice changes that feel structural rather than cosmetic. The skin may appear calmer, less reactive, and more resilient to everyday stressors, such as sun exposure, dryness, or temperature changes. Over time, elasticity stabilizes, and the skin's tendency to crease deeply under movement begins to soften. These shifts reflect improved collagen integrity rather than superficial smoothing. Another important aspect of pine bark extract lies in its supportive effect on microvascular health. By helping blood vessels remain flexible and responsive, antioxidant protection complements earlier circulation support rather than replacing it. When vessels function well and oxidative stress is reduced, oxygen and nutrients are delivered more effectively, and repair processes are less likely to be disrupted. This synergy allows the skin to operate in a more protected, less hostile internal environment. What matters most here is consistency rather than intensity. Antioxidant support works gradually, reinforcing the skin's defenses day after day. In doing so, it creates stability, allowing collagen to persist rather than constantly battle breakdown. With circulation open delivery amplified and degradation slowed, the skin reaches a point where deeper rebuilding support becomes possible, preparing the ground for the final layer that focuses on providing essential materials for repair and renewal. 6. Add in number 5, leafy greens powder, essential building blocks for skin repair. By this point, circulation is more reliable, delivery is steadier, and protective systems are in place. Yet one final limitation often determines whether the skin can truly stabilize or continues to struggle. Even with improved blood flow and reduced oxidative stress, repair cannot occur without adequate raw materials. After 60, subtle nutrient gaps become increasingly common, not because women stop eating well, but because absorption, utilization, and cellular demand all change with age. Leafy greens powder becomes relevant here because it concentrates essential micronutrients into a form the body can access consistently. Skin repair relies heavily on vitamins and minerals that support collagen synthesis, cellular turnover, and tissue resilience. Vitamin C is required for proper collagen formation, vitamin A supports skin cell renewal, and minerals such as zinc and selenium play key roles in tissue repair and antioxidant defense. When these elements are insufficient or inconsistently supplied, collagen production becomes inefficient even if every other condition is favorable. Research in nutritional science consistently shows that micronutrient deficiencies impair collagen synthesis and delay tissue repair, particularly in aging populations. After menopause, the skin's demand for these nutrients often increases. At the same time, absorption becomes less efficient. This creates a quiet imbalance. The skin is asked to repair itself in a more demanding environment, yet it is given fewer tools to do so. Leafy greens powder helps close that gap by supplying a steady stream of foundational nutrients that support ongoing repair rather than sporadic improvement. Clinically, this helps explain why some women notice that their skin feels stronger and more responsive once nutritional support becomes consistent. Texture appears more even, fragility decreases, and the skin seems better able to recover from dryness or environmental stress. These changes do not happen overnight, nor do they present as dramatic transformations. Instead, they reflect a gradual return of functional resilience, which is often more meaningful and sustainable after 60. Another important consideration is consistency. While whole vegetables remain valuable, daily intake can vary, and preparation methods can reduce nutrient availability. A concentrated greens powder does not replace a healthy diet, but it helps stabilize nutrient intake, ensuring that repair processes are not repeatedly interrupted. This steadiness supports collagen-producing cells over time, allowing them to work within a reliable nutritional environment. When viewed within the larger system, this step completes the foundation. Circulation opens the pathways, delivery sustains flow, protection slows breakdown, and nutrients provide the materials required for repair. Without this final layer, earlier efforts may plateau. With it, the skin is no longer simply defended or supported, it is equipped. And once the body has both the conditions and the materials it needs, hydration can finally function as a true partner in maintaining collagen stability and skin integrity over time. 7. How these add-ins work together, turning water into a biological signal. When these elements are viewed individually, it is easy to underestimate their collective impact. But the real shift happens when they are understood as a system rather than isolated additions. After 60, the body rarely responds to single inputs in dramatic ways. Instead, it adapts when multiple biological needs are met at the same time, allowing processes that once felt resistant to begin moving again with less friction. At the foundation, circulation opens the pathway. Beetroot supports blood vessel responsiveness, allowing oxygen and nutrients to reach skin tissue more reliably. Citrulline then sustains and amplifies that delivery, helping circulation remain steady instead of fluctuating throughout the day. Together, they address a core limitation of aging skin: inconsistent supply. Without this consistency, even the most beneficial nutrients struggle to reach the cells responsible for collagen maintenance. Protection follows delivery. Pomegranate slows the breakdown of collagen by reducing inflammatory signaling, while pine bark extract helps neutralize oxidative stress that would otherwise fragment collagen fibers and disrupt skin structure. These two layers create a calmer internal environment, one in which collagen is no longer under constant attack. This matters because repair cannot outpace destruction if breakdown continues unchecked. Preservation is what gives the skin time to respond. Nutritional support completes the system. Leafy greens powder supplies the essential vitamins and minerals required for collagen synthesis, cellular turnover, and tissue resilience. Once circulation is open, delivery is steady and degradation is slowed. These nutrients can finally be used efficiently rather than lost to inefficiency or imbalance. Repair becomes less sporadic and more continuous, which is exactly how aging skin prefers to function. What emerges from this combination is a shift in how water behaves inside the body. Hydration stops being passive and becomes functional. Instead of simply maintaining fluid balance, water begins to carry signals, nutrients, and protective compounds to the skin with purpose. This is the difference between drinking water and communicating with your biology. The skin no longer receives isolated inputs. It receives coordinated support. Clinically, this integrated approach explains why gradual, sustainable improvements often outperform quick fixes. Skin texture stabilizes resilience, improves, and visible aging slows, not because the body is being pushed, but because it is finally being supported in the way it needs at this stage of life. When systems align, the skin does not have to fight to maintain itself. Understanding this framework changes expectations. The goal is not reversal, but responsiveness. When the internal environment is corrected, the skin becomes capable of holding its structure instead of continually losing ground. And once that stability is established, even small daily habits like drinking water begin to work in harmony with the body rather than against it, setting the stage for long-term skin integrity after 60. 8. How to start safely and what to expect. Once the biological framework is clear, the next concern many women have is not whether this approach makes sense, but how to begin without overwhelming their body or disrupting what is already working. After 60, the goal is not to introduce everything at once, but to allow the body time to recognize and respond to support gradually, especially when circulation, inflammation, and nutrient signaling may have been inconsistent for many years. A safe starting point focuses on simplicity, pacing, and observation rather than intensity. Introducing one element at a time allows the body to adapt without confusion, and it makes it easier to notice subtle changes in skin comfort, hydration, and responsiveness. This method also reduces unnecessary stress on metabolic and digestive systems, which tend to be more sensitive with age. When support is layered slowly, the nervous system remains calmer. Hormonal signaling stays more balanced, and the body is far more likely to integrate support instead of resisting it or diverting resources elsewhere. Clinically, women who progress at a measured pace tend to report more stable and predictable outcomes. Early signs often appear beneath the surface, including improved skin comfort, reduced tightness, better moisture retention, and a sense that the skin recovers more easily from dryness, temperature changes, or daily stress. These shifts usually precede visible improvements and should be understood as positive indicators that internal conditions are becoming more supportive of collagen stability rather than superficial or temporary changes. It is also important to understand that response timelines vary widely. Some women notice subtle changes within a few weeks, while others require longer periods of consistency before differences become apparent. This variation reflects differences in circulation efficiency, inflammatory burden, nutrient absorption, mitochondrial activity, and cellular responsiveness. Aging biology adapts more slowly, but once systems recalibrate, improvements tend to be steadier, more resilient, and less prone to regression. Equally important is listening to the body throughout the process. Any signs of discomfort, digestive upset, unusual fatigue, or skin sensitivity should be treated as signals to pause and reassess rather than push forward. Supporting skin health after 60 should feel stabilizing and reassuring, not demanding, rushed, or disruptive. Ultimately, this stage is about setting realistic expectations and rebuilding trust with your own biology. When safety comes first and progress is measured over weeks rather than days, the body becomes more cooperative. With patience and consistency, what begins as support gradually becomes maintenance, allowing skin health to be sustained with clarity, confidence, and long-term balance. As we bring everything together, the most important takeaway is this: skin aging after 60 is not a failure of effort, discipline, or care. It is a reflection of changing biology. When circulation slows, inflammation rises, and nutrient signaling weakens, water alone can no longer do the work it once did. But when hydration is supported by the right internal environment, the skin becomes capable of maintaining itself with far greater stability and resilience. Throughout this video, we've looked at how each layer plays a role. Circulation opens the pathways. Amplified delivery sustains flow. Protection slows breakdown. Nutritional support provides the raw materials for repair. When these elements work together, water stops being passive and begins to function as a biological partner, carrying signals and support where your skin needs them most. This approach is not about reversing age, but about slowing unnecessary decline and preserving what remains strong. My advice is simple and realistic. Start gently, progress patiently, and measure success in comfort. Resilience and consistency rather than dramatic overnight change. Healthy aging skin improves quietly before it improves visibly. When you work with your biology instead of pushing against it, the results tend to last longer and feel more sustainable. Before we finish, I want to share something personal. If you found this content helpful and you're in a position to do so, a small donation can make a meaningful difference. It helps support the research, time, and care that go into creating educational videos like this, allowing the channel to continue growing and reaching women who need reliable guidance. If this video brought you value, please like it, share it with someone who may benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more science-based support for senior women's health. Thank you for spending your time here with me and for trusting this space to support your health journey.